Steel City Sports back here continuing our playoff coverage of Wildcard weekend. So we already made videos of the Cowboys and Packers game and the Steelers and Bills game. So if you want to hear my thoughts on those games, go listen to those. We're going to be doing a breakdown of every single Wildcard weekend matchup. Right now we have the Rams versus the Lions. This is an incredible matchup. I think this is one of the best matchups of the first round, for the simple fact that one of the biggest trades in recent memory was Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff being traded for each other, obviously leading the Rams to win a Super Bowl, Matthew Stafford's first year in LA, and the Lions being set up pretty nice. You know, they've hit on a lot of the draft picks that were associated in the Stafford trade. So you definitely have that storyline, both these quarterbacks playing their former teams, especially Stafford going back to Detroit where he spent, 11 or 12 years. It's going to be, if the Rams do win, it's going to have to be a bittersweet moment for Stafford. I know he does have a lot of memories and obviously cares a lot for the city of Detroit. For Goff, obviously, if the Lions win, it's going to feel extra nice to really stick it to McVay and the Rams after they discarded him. So just a quick overview for each team. The fact that the Rams made it is a testament to their GM and their coaching, because their GM to hit on three incredible rookies this year with Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, and Kobe Turner. Three incredible, impactful, high-end starting NFL players. That's incredible. Sean McVay has done a great job of just rebuilding the offense as a whole and winning 10 games whenever I predicted them to be one of the worst teams in the league. And they were last year. The Lions, of course, winning this division for the first time since 1994, hosting a playoff game, has been an incredible season for the Lions. And whether they win this game or not, this is obviously probably the best season in most Lions' lifetime, because they've been incredible this year. They have been a really fun team. So let's get into the personnel breakdown. Starting off with the coaching matchup. So I do think that this is two top 10 head coaches in the NFL. So this is obviously an elite matchup. Two very different style of head coaches. Sean McVay is the play caller of the Rams offense. He is known as one of the best strategical minds. I have him as a top 3 head coach in the NFL. Dan Campbell, I've always talked about this with Dan Campbell. From an X's and O's standpoint, we still are the jury's still out on Dan Campbell. But in terms of motivation, I don't think there's a better motivator in the sport of football than Dan Campbell. I mean, he is incredible at that. When he was first hired by the Lions, I didn't like the hire at all. I thought he was kind of a goofball, but he's really won me over with his passion and his dedication. He really, really cares about his guys on the team. And I think that he's probably the favorite to win Coach of the Year this year, just for the simple fact that he led the Detroit Lions to 12 wins is an incredible feat. So all that being said, I'm still going to take Sean McVay here just for the simple fact that, like I said, I think he is a top 3 head coach. He has the jewelry to prove it. He's already won a Super Bowl, and the job he's done this year with the Rams, I think, is one of the most impressive in the league, just looking at how bad they were last year and then being able to develop and really work with these young guys along with some of their veteran guys and really create a really potent team. So this is probably the closest quarterback matchup that we've talked about out of the playoff matchups so far. This one, I feel like, is really a coin flip. It comes down to preference because from a statistical standpoint, Jared Goff is better at Matthew Stafford at everything this season. However, I'm personally taking Matthew Stafford for a couple of different reasons. Number one, I think he's just simply a more talented quarterback. He has a much better arm than Jared Goff does. Not to say Goff's arm is bad, but Matthew Stafford has a generational level cannon of an arm. He's a better athlete than Jared Goff. I think he is. Even though he's a lot older than Jared Goff, I would still take him as an athlete. And also, situationally, I trust Matthew Stafford more. We've seen him win the big games. We've seen him win a Super Bowl. A big reason why the Rams, probably the biggest reason the Rams won that Super Bowl, was Matthew Stafford went on an incredible heater in the playoffs. The Rams were not the favorite to win the Super Bowl that year. Even going into the playoffs, I don't think that they were the favorite. I would say probably the Bucs, the Chiefs, teams like that were probably favored above that Rams team. However, through the play of Matthew Stafford going on an incredible hot streak and leading that team. That's why they won the Super Bowl. And I could see Matthew Stafford going on another heater like that just again because he has that ability. He plays well when the spotlight shines the brightest on him. So, again, you could maybe argue me into Jared Goff because his stats are incredible. I think he's the best type of game manager you can have. People think game manager has like a negative connotation. Like Tom Brady was a freaking game manager. Being a game manager is not a bad thing. It's just it's a style of play. And Jared Goff does that at an extremely elite level as his stats reflect. I just think in some big games, he does crumble. And I think he does that more than Stafford does. That's why I'm taking Stafford. Next up is the wide receiver and tight end unit. I'm rolling with the Rams here for the simple fact that they have two number one wide receivers on their team. Puka Nacua had the greatest rookie season for a wide receiver, arguably ever. Cooper Kupp, we know when healthy, is one of the most dynamic, unguardable receivers in the league. Not long ago, won the Triple Crown and the Super Bowl MVP, and he's, I think, finally reaching back to full health. Had he played the full season, I think he would have easily cracked 1,000 yards. And to go along with a capable tight end, Tyler Higbee. Tutu Atwell has had some moments this season. The Lions, I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's an incredible wide receiver. I just think that the 1-2 punch of Puka and Kupp is too overpowering. And Sam Laporta obviously is a big piece of this because I don't know if Sam Laporta is playing this game. I think this is one of the biggest parts of this game that's going to decide who wins is if Sam Laporta plays. And even if he does play, what percent is he going to be at? Is he going to be like 60, 70% of his regular form? So that is just like a crying shame because Sam Laporta has been one of the best tight ends in the NFL this year as a rookie. So it's just unfortunate for the Lions. One of their best players is banged up heading into the playoffs, but that's the NFL. That's how this stuff kind of plays out. So if he was fully healthy, maybe I'd consider the Lions, but for now, I'm going with the Rams. Next up for the running back matchup, we have Kyren Williams and Royce Freeman for the Rams versus David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs for the Lions. As much as I like Kyren Williams, and I mean, he has had such a phenomenal rookie year. One of the best. Again, like we go back to how great the Rams drafted. To get Puka and this guy in the same draft class is mind-boggling for the fact this guy was, a 5th rounder? 12 touchdowns as a rookie. I mean, it's pure insanity. As much as I respect Kyren and what he's done as a rookie, I think David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs is the greatest running back tandem in the NFL right now. For a long time, it was the duo in Cleveland with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. But now I think that this is the best running back duo in the NFL. Montgomery and Gibbs, they're both highly productive. Gibbs almost cracked 1,000 yards as a rookie as well. Montgomery has been incredible. Just a complete scoring machine this year. And I think the Lions, they just get the advantage here. And next is the offensive line matchup. As much as I give the Rams credit for what they've done rebuilding their offensive line this past offseason, the Detroit Lions have the second graded offensive line in the entire NFL from Pro Football Focus. We know how incredible that Lions offensive line is. It's a big part of why that running back tandem we just talked about has looked so good. I mean, they are incredible. You have high-end tackles, high-end center. I don't think this one is really particularly close. The Lions' offensive line is incredible. Now we flip over to defense. I think these are two pretty comparable defenses. When you look at yards allowed per game, they're right next to each other. The Lions are at 19. The Rams are at 20. Let's look at their defensive lines. The Rams run a 3-4 with Jonah Williams, Kobe Turner, the incredible rookie, and then Aaron Donald, who I think has exited his prime, but is still just a complete wrecking ball force on the line. And they produce 19 sacks together as a unit. Looking at Detroit, they run a 4-3. Aiden Hutchinson, I think, is one of the best young defensive players in the NFL right now. The fact that the Jags didn't take him number 1 overall, I think they're going to regret that for Aiden Hutchinson's entire career. I'm still baffled at why they did that. They have Alim McNeil, Benito Jones, and John Kaminsky. They put up 19.5 sacks. So as much as I like Aiden Hutchinson, I just think the duo of Donald and Turner right now is a little better. And the fact that they have one less rusher on their D-line and they're only a half sack behind the Lions, I think just kind of shows how destructive that Rams defensive line is. Next up is the linebacker position. So I think that this one really highlights the creativity and the mastermind of the Rams defensive coordinator, because look at the names on screen for the Rams right now. If you're not a Rams fan, have you ever heard of these guys? Byron Young, Ernest Jones, Christian Roseboom, and Michael Holt. Like, I've never heard of those guys. But you look at their numbers, it's a really, really productive linebacker unit with 18.5 sacks and 209 solo tackles as a unit. You compare that against Detroit. They have Jack Campbell, one of their rookies who's been incredible this year, Alex Anzalone, and Derek Barnes. Their numbers just don't stack up anywhere near the Rams' productivity, so the linebacker advantage goes to the Rams. And the last matchup is the secondary. I don't think either of these secondaries are elite, but comparing them, Akello Witherspoon, Jordan Fuller, who's questionable to play, Quentin Lake, and Kobe Durant for the Rams, they put up 6 interceptions, 34 pass defenses, and 169 solo tackles as a unit. Going to Detroit, though, I think that they have more recognizable names, at least for me. Cam Sutton, the former Steeler. C.J. Gardner-Johnson was an instrumental part to the Eagles' Super Bowl run last year. Kirby Joseph, and then Brian Branch, the incredible rookie safety from Bama. I always am going to remember his pick 6 in his first game against the Chiefs in the first game of the season. And they put up 9 interceptions, 33 pass defenses, and 184 solo tackles as a unit. So like I said, I don't think either of these secondaries are particularly good, and the Lions secondary has been exposed in a couple games, but just for the fact that I think that they just have more talent, and Gardner-Johnson did miss like a large chunk of the season, so getting him back right in time for playoffs is massive for this team. As much as it pains me to say, because I want to see the Lions win a playoff game, I'm going to predict my first upset of the playoffs, and that is the Rams to win this game. And it comes down to one simple fact. Anytime you have the head coach advantage and the quarterback advantage, you should win the game. And as we just said, I think the Rams have the advantage in both of those. I think Sean McVay is a more clever, just better tactician than Dan Campbell. And Matthew Stafford, I trust him more in the big moments than Jared Goff. So my prediction is the Rams will win this game. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think is going to win this game? Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.